Hi, I'm Chuck Joyner, and this is the MacVoices update for March 2020. Folks, a lot of things have changed for all of us since the last update, not the least of which is the fact that wherever you are, there's a good chance that you're probably on lockdown or least restricted activity of some kind due to COVID-19. And I want to stress that I hope you are paying attention to all the restrictions that you're under and all the guidelines for keeping yourself and your family safe. We want to make sure that is everyone's top priority. But I also want to bring you up to date on a few things that have been changing at MacVoices and will continue to change, and a number of updates. So here we go. Even before COVID-19 hit, I was looking at the possibility of maybe making things a little bit different for the distribution of MacVoices, maybe a little more consistent and a little more easy to absorb, because I know that I've received some feedback in the past that some of the longer shows can be a little bit difficult to get through. So what I started doing, and this was planned and it just seemed to be coincidental with when COVID-19 hit, that I'm going to try to be limiting the shows to somewhere around the 30-minute mark. Some will be a little more, some might be a little less. And some of the longer interviews I'm going to break into two, potentially even three parts, depending on what the circumstances are. That doesn't mean that's always going to happen. But the idea is that I'm sure, like me, you get plenty of shows coming in every day on your podcast feeds, and maybe this will make it just a little bit easier to make sure you get all of the information that our guests are able to deliver. Because yes, I understand sometimes it can be a little bit difficult to get through a full hour show, even if you're listening at 1.5 speed or even 2 speed. So you'll start to see a lot more part 1, part 2s, maybe even a part 3 or so here as we go forward. And the idea, again, will be that maybe that can be a little more consistent, coming out every day or close to every day, as opposed to every other day or however it gets scattered. Now, I'm quick to tell you that when COVID-19 hit, on my side of the screen, life got a lot more exciting, because I'm sure, just like you, I'm working from home now for a while. But it also, in my industry, things got a little bit crazy as people looked to their insurance to try to take some of to fix some of the issues with their financial lives. So it's been a little bit difficult to keep up a regular schedule, but have no fear, MacVoices is not going anywhere, and we will continue. It's just that for right now, things may be a little bit jumbled up. So watch for that. Let me know what you think. I'm always happy to have some feedback, but I think this way maybe it'll make sure that you get through an entire MacVoices show with everything that our guests have to say. Also, I've been, as I have mentioned in past briefings and in the MacVoices Dispatch, our weekly newsletter, I've been trying to publish something I'm calling MacVoices Thinking. Some of my opinions, observations, analysis of stories of the day that come across the feeds that maybe aren't appropriate for a full MacVoices show, or aren't really appropriate for much of anything as far as having a guest on, but some thoughts and ideas I want to share with you. I've been posting the topics to those in the MacVoices Dispatch each week, but the only way you'll get them is to become a patron subscriber to MacVoices. Now, all the Patreon subscribers and patrons of MacVoices will receive that level of support, and these are short, 1, 2, 3 minutes. I think the longest one's been 4 minutes up to date. But the idea is to give you something a little extra for supporting MacVoices, and I really appreciate it. And that means for as little as $1 a month, you can get in on that. So MacVoices, patreon.com/MacVoices is where you go to sign up for that. Now, again, I was into a pretty good rhythm as I started out, and then COVID-19 hit, and honestly, it felt a little bit strange last week to post anything. This past week, it got a little bit better because I felt like I actually had something to say, and hopefully now things are we're adjusting to the new normal. And I feel a lot more comfortable. But before, I think all of us were glued to the news and announcements, not only on a national basis, but on a global basis and on a state basis, sometimes on a community basis, of what we needed to be doing to stay safe. So if you are a patron, you've been receiving the emails on that whenever they go live. And there will be more about that soon as we move along. I'm also contemplating and working on another reward for the higher tiers of patrons of MacVoices, and you'll hear more about that as we go through. But if you are in any of the upper tiers, you might receive a kind of a surprise email saying, "Oh, this is something new," and when I'm ready to tell you about it, I will make sure that it's first announced probably in the MacVoices Dispatch. So you want to make sure you're subscribed to that, but also in the next month's update. And if all goes well, that should be in place by the April update, assuming we don't have any more surprises coming at us. I also want to make sure that I remind you about all of the assets that MacVoices produces that you can take advantage of, and hopefully might make your stay at home a little bit easier. First, of course, is I mentioned the MacVoices Dispatch, our weekly newsletter, which is where you can keep up with things and see a listing of everything that happened that past week. Also, MacVoices Magazine on Flipboard, which you can also, of course, view on the web, is updated daily with some of the best hints and tips for Apple users that are oriented toward productivity. That's, again, really not focused much on news, but more on actually helping you get things done with your Apple technology. There's the MacVoices Facebook page and MacVoices group, which on Facebook, which doesn't get as much activity, and I'm hoping maybe to encourage you to come in there, review the articles of the day, and maybe share some of your own. Share some things that you find interesting or informative and you think would benefit everyone, and let's make that a little more of a community. So that brings us to this month's support report. But before I do that, I want to make sure that I say thank you to everyone who supports MacVoices in every way that you do. Sometimes just sharing a post with your social network friends can make a big difference. And there are a lot of ways that if you're not able to support this through Patreon, and right now times can be getting a little bit difficult from a cash flow standpoint. So if that becomes an issue, I completely understand. But there are a lot of ways that won't cost you anything, except maybe just a little bit of time or paying a little bit of attention. You can write a review on iTunes, which always is appreciated. It helps us get the word out. You can click through our sponsor links, and that too helps a lot. And if you decide to become a customer of theirs, that's great. That's between you and them. But if you do decide to do that, then if you can go through our MacVoices link, that is very much appreciated and helps let them know that you heard about their product on MacVoices. And of course, if you buy anything from Amazon during these times and use one of our affiliate links, no matter what you order, we will get just a little bit of an affiliate incentive, and that helps support the show as well and doesn't cost you anything. And by the way, you don't have to just buy tech through Amazon either. It doesn't matter once you've clicked through that link, anything you buy during that session gives us that affiliate benefit. And so that's very much appreciated. So lots of little things you can do to help support us. Become engaged with MacVoices, and we'll all get through some of these tough times together. For the month of March, we had no one at Platinum or Gold, but at Silver, we had Chuck A., Michael D., Bruce E., Norbert F., David G., Tim G., Chuck P., George R., and Daniel S. And at Bronze, we had Max C., Clinton M., Giro M., Frank P., and Prop P. Thanks to all our patrons. And a quick note, too, on the Patreon listings. That's who has been supporting us through March. There have been some changes during the month of March, and so if you made one of those changes, all those updates will be included in the April update, because the way Patreon works is that they charge your account the first of the month, and so therefore you are engaged as of the first of that month. And the way I look at it, you're supporting us starting that month. So that's why if you are a new patron, you may not see your name yet on this list, but starting with our April shows, you'll see it in the credits and get listed on the website. So at the end of the day, the most important thing, as I said at the top of this update, is please, please take care of yourself, be safe, do everything necessary, all the social distancing and all the health guidelines that your governments and the health organizations are encouraging you to do to keep you and your family safe. We will get through this, and I want to make sure I see everybody on the other side as part of the MacVoices family. Thanks so much. I'm Chuck Joyner. This is MacVoices. Visit MacVoices.com for show notes and to connect with Chuck on social media. Get involved in our Facebook group or like our Facebook page, and get more out of your Apple tech with MacVoices Magazine, free on Flipboard and on the web. And if you find value in it all, consider supporting us through either our Patreon campaign at patreon.com/MacVoices or by making a one-time donation via the PayPal link on our front page and in the show notes of each episode. You will join these fine people who help bring you Mac Voices. Advertising handled by Backbeat Media at backbeatmedia.com. Bandwidth provided by CacheFly at cachefly.com.